How you doing? This is Tom, and this is Tom's Radio Room Show, and this is the realistic DX-100. I got off of eBay. The seller said that it functioned, but was not able to receive much on shortwave. And I was kind of hoping that meant that it was just due to band conditions right now. And I sent a question to the seller, and they said they were able to receive some strong stations on shortwave, but that's it. So I thought, what the heck? I'll put a small bid in, and if I happen to get it, I get it. If I don't, no big deal. I've been wanting to get one of those DX-100s for quite some time. And in their day, they were a pretty good radio, considering the cost. And they're, of course, sold by Radio Shack. Oh, gosh, probably back in the 80s, maybe. And I'll show you the front of it. I've taken it out of the case, of course. There's the front of it. Pretty clean. Wasn't terribly dirty. But I noticed some things. Well, first I turned it on, and all the lights and the meter and everything kind of moved. I switched to the medium wave band, tuned, and I got a little bit, not much. Turned to the 3 shortwave bands, quiet, totally quiet, almost like it was under squelch control. There was no static noise, nothing. So I thought, well, this is not good. So usually the thing I try first is the band select. So I fooled with the band select, switching it back and forth, and still didn't get much. So I thought, okay, it's time to open it up. So I took it out of the case, and the first thing I noticed was this green wire here, which connects to the telescopic antenna, was disconnected. Now, whether it was disconnected when I took it out of the chassis or not, I don't know, but I assume if it was connected, it would have given me some resistance, and I took it out very slowly in case of some wires were connected somewhere. So I don't know if it was connected or not. Might not have. So that was the first evidence. Well, let me go back one more second. The first evidence that I had that it was had been open before was on the base. There's a bunch of screws that holds this thing together, and 4 of them were missing out of about 7. 4 were missing. Obviously somebody had been into this. Okay. Next evidence was possibly this antenna wire was loose. The obvious evidence was this coil here, this long coil, has 2 mounting points. And let me zoom in a little bit here. Slide this over. It has 2 mounting ports to the PC board, and one's here and one's here. Well, this one was broken loose, and the rod itself was turned. So that was something that was pretty obvious. Could have happened in shipping, although the seller did an excellent boxing job. She did a double box with foam in and outside the box. I mean, it was an excellent. The outside box had no damage whatsoever. So most likely, if it would have been dropped hard enough to break this loose, there would have been some evidence on the outside box. There was not. So again, this indicated somebody had been inside this. Now, the other thing is, now see if I can zoom in even more. Okay, move back right there, and let me get a pointer. Use a pin, non-conductive pin. Right in here is some black epoxy just kind of smeared around. I think there's some other places. That could have been done at the factory or even at a repair center. If I turn it over very carefully, Here's something that looks a little suspicious. Now this, when I search the internet, there's about 4 or 5 mods for this radio. And see if I can find it. Right here, let me see if let me lift it up so I can see it. Yeah, right here is, it looks like a diode has been added. And there was just plastic electrical tape protecting it from shorting out. There's some other components here. Again, these could be factory add-ons. They look well done. I'm trying to think of what I'm trying to say. They look well done. It's not like somebody sloppily did that. If I turn it back over, being careful, I twisted the antenna. Let me unconnect that and reconnect that since I twisted it. Okay, and so I'm using, what I was using is I'm using my in-fed outdoor antenna for the shortwave bands, and of course these broads back here are for the medium wave bands. And this is the thing that really has puzzled me. Not that I know that much about repairing radios. I don't. I'll admit it, I don't. But let me digress here. Zoom back out. Okay. So here's the confusion factor, which is probably giving me a big clue, but I don't know what the clue is. Okay. If I turn the radio on, let me turn my power on, and then I'll turn the radio on. And I'm on the, I've got the volume at about 80%, pretty high. I can hear a little static if I get real close to the radio. Now if I tune, see if I can find something. Shortwave band is pretty dead right now. Well, I'm getting more static now than I did before. Maybe it's because I've got everything turned off so that you can hear me. All the fans and air conditioning. So that's good. I can hear more static than I could before. Before it sounded like it was totally deaf. Can't find a station though. Go a little higher in frequency. Come on, baby. Found frequencies before. Stations. Okay, there's one. Now, what I noticed is before, and I did had some fans on before because it gets quite hot in here in my workshop. It was almost like there was squelch on. It has no squelch, or automatic volume control was kicked in, and I was not getting any audio. Now I can hear some audio, some noise, and the other thing is I noticed, and I was able to get some strong signals, only about a half a dozen or so local in the United States signals. Like that's a preacher man right there. It is very selective as far as the tuning. So you got to be right on the station or you get nothing. So I had, if I tuned kind of relatively fast, I would never hear anything because I just go right past it. So I had to turn really slow and then I could pick up these stations. Don't know what that's about. I talked to one of my YouTube friends who repairs radios for a living, and he suggested that it could be. I sent him the SAMs on it that I found on the internet, and he suggested that that first stage coming right into the antenna could be blown, which is quite common on radios that have, the transistors or FET front ends. They're pretty susceptible to surges. So I have spent the last 20 minutes with a magnifying glass trying to find Q1, and I cannot find it on here anywhere. I also, I looked up on the schematic, I looked up other components that were connected to it, and I cannot find Q1. So I'm going to let my friends that have been helping me see this video, and maybe they can tell me where it is on this board. I've searched all over this board, and of course these components are really crammed in there. Now another strange thing, and kind of the last thing I'll talk about in this video, let me back up a little bit, is when I was looking to clean the band switch switch, let me go out a little bit more. It's right here, and it connects to this shaft right here, which connects to this long, let me get my pencil again, and I've got this on, so I definitely want to use my pencil, to this long shaft here. And as you turn the band, it's pushing something up and down this rail to do some kind of band selecting. Pretty bizarre device for doing the band selection. So that, I put some, with the unit off and unplugged, I put some contact cleaner down in here to see if I could wash it out, so to speak. And that brought the radio to life. I could not only get the AM band, the medium wave band, I could get the shortwave bands. So that's as far as I've gotten. I like I say, I visually have searched, let me turn this off. I visually have searched this printed wiring board, and I cannot find Q1, which I was going to do some voltage tests, because the PhotoFax I got tells you some voltages you can check for. I can't find the component, and I can't even find the ones immediately around it. Like there's two coils near it, and I can't find those. So right now I'm in a search mode trying to find those components. So Steve or Jim, if you can give me a clue where to look physically on this device, I'd appreciate it, because with my poor eyes, I just cannot find those transistors, and possibly even if I find them, I might not be able to get to them, because they could be buried down in this mess right in here. So we'll see. Anyway, that's as far as I've gotten. Like I said, it kind of works. I can turn on for one more second, try to show you. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon here in Florida, so the band's the worse than ever. But I am getting the static that I wasn't getting before, so that's a good sign. There's one. Okay, that's about, it's a little over 11 megahertz. And you can see if I just touched the fine tuning knob and I lost it. I'll turn it back. When it comes in good. So I think there's some hope. Possibly that Q1 first transistor is blown. So anyway, that's the show. Bye-bye.